Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is Thursday night, October 3rd, 2024, about 8:40 p.m. I think the football game just started. Lee, how you been? How you doing?
I've been all right. I'm doing all right. How about yourself, bud?
Same here. So big week this week for you at least, right? You're a big Cowboy hater. Still got the Cowboys
Big
coming
cowboy hater.
coming
Yeah,
at 8:20 Sunday night. Um,
yeah,
I'll give you a minute to shit on the Cowboys, I guess.
yeah. The Cowboys suck. It's just what it is. First and foremost. I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing in Jerry World, but just keep it up, Jerry. Just make the Cowboys even worse every year. It's great to see, them signing these players to these huge extensions and giving them all this money and them not doing anything. I think it's fantastic. This is definitely, I think, a rivalry you would say that's gone back since the '70s when the Steelers and Cowboys have played in the Super Bowls a bunch of times, and there's been some amazing games between these two going along from then till now, and I'm just hoping for another Steeler victory against the Cowboys. I just hope they continue to just their fans get excited that this is their year, and they blow it every time they get to the playoffs. So I'm hoping that this continues. There was a year, one time when I was stationed in the military, when I was stationed in South Korea, actually in the military, a guy bet me that, when the Steelers played the Cowboys, that they would win. And I thought the Steelers would win. Of course, Steelers lost. I had to wear a Cowboys jersey for like a week, which was terrible. It wasn't
Didn't
fun.
watch it.
So, didn't wash it. No, I had to wear it, and so I'm hoping that we can get this victory this Sunday night coming, for the Steelers to get back on track with things.
I know this might be sacrilegious, but I honestly don't give a shit about the Cowboys from a rivalry standpoint. If you think about it, the last time they've really mattered was we were 5 years old. The
Yeah.
Cowboys constantly, like you said, had their ups and downs. I guess since then they've been a little bit harder with playoff runs, but uh, this team here this year has struggled to start the season. They're 2-2.
Hmm.
Dak's got off to a pretty slow start for his standards and what's expected with the contract that he's got. I know you like to bring up that contract too, which you did in your little spiel there. What are your thoughts on Dak's contract?
Oh, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's terrible. How can you pay a guy $60 million a year? $60 million? He's not even elite. He's terrible. He's terrible. He might be the 32nd best quarterback in the league right now. It's unbelievable what they're paying these guys, and it's just every year it's going up. Ever since that Patrick Mahomes deal, now everybody wants that type of money, and they're not that good. They're not that good. I don't know what
The next
they
guy's
think.
always going to get the next guy's just always going to get
Yeah,
that contract. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're a guy who's you're locked into a starter spot. You're going to get that huge money.
yeah,
It's just the way the league's going to go, which is it's crazy to think that if you're next in line, he's going to make sure you don't screw it up for a couple of weeks or a couple of years, and you're going to get a payday. And it goes
yeah,
across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. It seems like you're going to get that. You're going to get someone to if your team doesn't decide to sign you, similar to like Kirk Cousins, where he had to go year to year for a while. Sooner or later, someone's going to sign you, and he got the big deal from Minnesota. But yeah, this game's Sunday night, as I said, 8:20 at home. Steelers are currently 2-point favorites. The over/under on the game is just 44.5 points. Um, so that it opened at 41.5. So people do expect to get maybe a little more scoring than what was initially thought. And then with that spread, it started at negative or at -2 for the Steelers. Now it's -2.5 actually. So Vegas likes the Steelers, but they are giving them that. Usually, you get a home bump of about 3 points. So maybe if this is neutral field, they'd see the Cowboys as slight favorites. But for me, I think this week it's going to be important to see what Najee Harris can do. I think
yeah.
we've had a couple of tough tests on the run game. This week we're going to have no Jalen Warren. It looks like Cordero Patterson's also going to be out of the picture there. So I found this from Warren Sharp. He put out a couple of the defenses the Steelers have faced so far. Steelers run defenses faced to date: the number 4 Broncos, the number 6 Colts, the number 7 Chargers, and the number 16 Falcons. This week, though, they got the Cowboys, who are ranked number 27 in the league in run defense. I think this could be a big key is whether or not Najee can have a good game here. I think it's important to see it happen. So far in the year, he's got 68 carries and only 228 yards, which is under 4 yards a carry. Honestly, it's what he's been his whole career, really, especially recently. He's around 4 yards per carry. I think he's going to be a big key here to try to step up. He's a guy I think we need to step up for sure.
Yeah, I had predicted him to be maybe an offensive MVP last week, but of course, that did not happen. So hopefully, maybe he can rebound, like you said, with the Cowboys having the 27th ranked rush defense this year so far. Hopefully, he can come out and do something. I know last week the Ravens were able to run all over the Cowboys. So hopefully, that can be something that we can do this year with or this week. I meant with this upcoming game with with Najee coming in and doing something. Maybe Justin Fields getting some running yards as well. Maybe just something going for that running game, because it just really hasn't been moving. And you just went through the teams we face already, where they're ranked already, and that kind of goes to show a little bit. So hopefully, with a team with a really bad running defense right now, hopefully this coming Sunday night we can get something going on the running game.
Yeah, as we talked today, Cordero Patterson and Jalen Warren are questionable, but I do think it's going to be Najee that's going to have to carry the load. Another guy who's questionable is someone that we haven't heard from too much recently is Russell Wilson. He's still listed as questionable, and he talked to the media this week. I think it was yesterday afternoon, Wednesday. I figured we could go listen to some of what he has to say.
All right.
Here we go with some Russell Wilson talk.
Expectations to ramp it up this week, is that occurring, and how's it going?
Yeah, you guys are out there. Yeah, we're definitely ramping it up. It's been good. I feel great, and just getting better every day.
How much work have you been able to do in some of those team periods?
Yeah, definitely been able to hop in the team drills and get more plays, and just be able to do that. That's been great this week, and then doing all the team 11-on-11 and also 7-on-7, all that stuff too as well. So it's been good.
What do you need
How long would it take you to get ramped up to where you play?
What do you mean by that?
Sorry. Like would it take a number of practices, number of full practices?
I've played a lot of football. I feel like we're listening to the doctors, listening to the coach, and just trying to make sure that they're good and I'm good and everything else. And just had a really good week of practice so far. I'm proud of the guys and how hard we've worked. And today's Thursday, still got some extra days left, and then obviously there's Friday and trying to get there too. Is feel great, and
And after Friday is Saturday. But
yeah.
What are your thoughts on what he was going on there? I think that kind of mirrors what Tomlin said at the end there about if when it's time for Russell to come back in, if he has to come back in, he's not going to need too much time to get back into football shape, football mindset, because he's a veteran and pro in the league. But any takeaways there from what Russell had to say?
He was just giving the politically correct answer, to a lot of this stuff. It just seemed like I don't know if something else is even going on, but it just seemed like a lot of the answers were almost just repetitive. It's just, I've been getting a little practice here and there, and whenever the doctor says I'm ready, I can go, and things like that. And I don't know. It just seems like maybe this injury is worse than what it is. It's either that or there's something else going on behind closed door. But it just seemed like I'll be ready when I'm ready type of thing. Whenever the coaches and doctors say I'm ready, and then I'll be ready. That it just what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, they do go on to ask him a couple more questions about what steps he needs to take and everything like that. I can play a little bit of that real fast just to give you some more insight into that.
Had a real good practice today. Our team did, and felt really confident today.
What more do you have to do to test the ankle to show that it's?
You got to meet with the doctors and do some different stuff like that. But just I feel strong. I feel confident, and I love the process that we've been in, just in terms of just making sure that I'm fully ready to go. And I feel like I'm I'm right there. I got an extra day tomorrow, and still got Saturday and everything else. So that's my mindset. Get ready for Sunday.
What's sort of the last thing to come? Is it lateral movement? Is it pushing off of it? What's the last thing to come that you think needs to get you to 100%?
I think the best part is just practice. I think practice is everything. Being able to get out there with the guys and do the work, and I feel really good about that.
Russ, is there a scenario where maybe you feel strong enough to be active in, a number 2 role versus being inactive versus starting? Is there kind of a sliding scale for that?
Yeah, and I think the first thing is just making sure that I'm really physically ready to go. And every week I've been ready to go in some form or fashion in case of emergency or whatever. So that's just kind of been my mentality, just making sure that if something happens, to be ready, and help us win. And that's always the case, is finding a way to help us win. And
so first part there, answer your question about he was asked about what he needs to do, lateral, moving back and forward, and he had a smirk on his face similar to the smirk I have on my face, I guess, right now. But he obviously doesn't really give two shits about that kind of questioning. It seems like he's more inclined to talk about he'll be ready when he's ready, I guess, is what you were saying before, and it still sticks there.
That's what it just seems like. Yeah, I don't know. Either it's a worse injury than they're making it seem like it is, or there's something else going on. So we'll have to just wait and see, if he's going to be ready to go this Sunday or coming, the following weeks as the NFL season goes on. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with him. Yeah,
I think you're right. And then any thoughts on that last part there? He was asked very good way of putting that answer out there about are you prepared to be a backup, pretty much is what the question came out down to. But the reporter was able to spin it a different way to ask if there was a situation where he could be active as a backup and whether or not he can take that role on. What did you think of his response to that and the way that question was asked?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like it just seemed like he didn't really care to hear that either. I think he just answered it in a way of like, I just want to help the team win. Whenever I'm ready to help the team win. That's all it is. Whatever the role is, things like that. I just want to help the team win. It just seemed like he didn't really care for that. I think he wants to be the starter, but I maybe there's something else going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem in the conspiracy aspect of maybe there's something else going on. I think it comes down to just how much Tomlin's just been close to the vest on this and refusing to name Fields the starter, refusing to really talk about it. And his line of question, his answer has been along the lines of, "Hey, when he's ready, we'll talk about it. Until then, we're not going to talk about it." And that's what we're going to get, I think, out of Tomlin and out of Russell. Looking back to the actual game this week, who are some guys you're looking for here? Who do you think may be an MVP? Who do you think? Who would you like to see step up? Someone that maybe hasn't gone and done what they need to done so far. I already mentioned Najee Harris is a guy for me. What are your thoughts on guys that step up? Maybe MVP talk for the game.
Yeah, a guy I thought about last week on defense, Minka. I mean, there was. He made a play that's kind of been circulating around with about some of the hits. I don't know how you felt about it, but I thought it was just a fair play hit. But I'd like to see some more of him step up. Somebody you mentioned offensively, George Pickens. We really haven't seen a lot of him, doing much offensively. Yeah, he's having some catches here and there, but I don't even think he's scoring a touchdown yet. Patrick Queen is another guy that I'm hoping can kind of step up with that linebacker role on defense. Somebody we really haven't seen too much of defensively there. We haven't heard his name called either. Joey Porter Jr. is another name we really haven't heard a lot of during the season like we did last year. I'm hoping that there can be some better connection between Fields and the center, because that's something that's going on too with the snapping. So I'm looking for MVP. I'm looking for Minka, and I'm looking for Calvin Austin. Those are going to be my two guys that I would like to see for MVP for this game.
Speaking of Mika, I think you had a problem with the penalty that was called on him this week. I actually have some audio from Ben Roethlisberger and his thoughts on the play there that we
Yeah.
can pull up real quick, and then I'll have your thoughts on the hit and what Ben has to say. I think Ben agrees with you on this one.
James Harrison, Debo. I won't necessarily criticize as bad, but I know he went in on the officials how bad officiating was because we can't get fined anymore, so doesn't matter. But I thought the Minka hit on the sideline was an atrocious call. Yeah. Minka, you are exactly right. You play the game the right way. You care about player safety. You care about the rules, the integrity of the game. I thought that was a good hit. I thought he hit him with his shoulder. I don't think he launched. I think if anything, kind of bounced off him. Like it just that changed the game because that's a huge play. It's a shame that they don't get that fixed. Minka, good job playing the game. I'm sorry that happened to you.
So yeah, what are your thoughts there? I know we watched the game together at that point. I think we were together at that point, and you immediately were pissed off about that call there and about the fact you can't hit anybody in this league anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah, the game's like just getting soft. I mean, it used to be a game. I understand, it's about player safety, and because that whole ordeal that came out years ago with that doctor here in Pittsburgh with the CTE shit, they made a movie. Will Smith played the guy called Concussion. There was a big thing that went on for a long time with all that, and I get it. You hate to see when a player gets injured. You hate to see, players get concussions. Having to have their career ended short because of injury and things like that. And you don't want to see that in the game. It's not what it's. That's not what you want. But you can't even almost tackle the people anymore. I mean, and Minka didn't lead with his head. He hit the guy with his shoulder, hit the guy in his shoulder. I mean, it was just shoulder-to-shoulder contact. The ball was out of reach anyway. It wasn't like the guy was going to be able to catch it anyway. And, I get that, you can't, make plays like that. But when you have a guy that's going 100 mile an hour towards a target, towards another player or whatever, how is he supposed to slow up and not hit the guy and not react in a certain way to the way he was? I mean, he was going in for a shoulder hit. That's all it was going to be. Even if the guy caught the ball and hit him with the shoulder, I still think they call a penalty. I mean, unnecessary roughness. I don't see how it's that bad of a hit. It's shoulder to shoulder. If he was leading with his head and hit the guy in the helmet, sure. Call that flag because, throw it and call that penalty. It is what it is. But when you're going so fast and you can't slow down and you hit the guy with your shoulder and you're calling unnecessary roughness, I just don't see how you can call that a flag. I just don't, So I really think they need to, loosen up a little with the way they're tackling, because it's gonna get to a point, and I hope it doesn't get here, but it's gonna get to a point where they're just gonna start wearing flags and they're gonna have to pull flags. This is what it's gonna be, So I want to see football. I don't want to see a flag being thrown every play for something. I want to watch football.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it. But when you're in this league, when you know it's going to be that way, I think you got to start realizing that these refs are going to call a soft game. And then you're saying you can't go from that full speed to hitting. I think that's why they're going to get paid so much. That's why people like Minka get the money they get, is to make those split decisions that a normal human being can't make. That's why they're gladiators out there. And I think that you're just gonna have to adjust. And a lot of people were saying the same thing about a lot of situations and a lot of different penalties that they put in the league, and everyone was worried how are the players going to stop doing this? How are the players going to start doing this? And for the most part, they've done it. They've been able to get been able to adjust. So I think that's something you got to take into account, is that they're going to call that penalty on you. You got to just figure out a way to solve that issue. Just for an example, roughing the passer when you land on a guy. Everyone was so concerned that so many guys are going to get penalized by that. It still happens every week, but the way that these guys have been able to adjust their bodies to make sure they don't land directly on quarterbacks, it just shows the impressive athleticism that these guys have. And
yeah,
they got to take into account that these refs are going to call us off game. I think I know when it happened, I was like, I was watching it full speed and it was like, yeah, they're just going to call that penalty. They're always going to call that nowadays because it looks violent. It's sad to say, but the fact that it looks violent is enough for these refs to throw a flag.
Yeah.
Especially when you're isolated on the outside like that with just you and that guy. It's not like it's a play over the middle, even like you can get away with over the middle. I guess you're going to get the same kind of issue there. But I think the crowd reaction is going to be loud. The crowd on that play, that affects the refs. These refs aren't mentally strong. They get affected by stuff like that, and they're going to let that affect their ability to call a fair game, a game that is unbiased. I think. I don't know how much you agree with what I just said and anything like that.
No, I hear you, and I mean you're absolutely right. I mean these guys get paid enough money to have to figure out how to adjust to the game, so that way they're not getting the flags thrown. But if the refs look at it as too violent, then maybe they shouldn't be refs in the game. That's just what it is. It's football. It's going to get a little rough. It's going to get a little, nasty out there on the field. It's just what it is. I mean, I get that, it's all about player safety. I get that. I'm all for it. You don't want to see anybody hurt. You don't want to see somebody's career get ended in one play. I completely agree, because these guys, like you said, are gladiators, and they're out there. They're getting paid the money to be able to play a sport because they are experts in their field and professionals out there, playing the game. But if it's too violent for them, why are they refs? Go ref tennis if it's too violent for you. Go ref golf or whatever. Don't ref a sport that's gonna scare you at night and have to give you nightmares. I don't know what to tell you.
See, when I said, that's more. You got to remember, they're being told to do all this shit. They're not there like by themselves. But if they're told you got to worry about player safety, and then they see a guy coming 20 miles an hour and smacking another guy right out of bounds like that, they get into panic mode. I think they're just too worried about their job. I don't think they're worried about player safety personally. I mean, maybe they care a little bit morally for the people in the field. Maybe they got some friends in the league, but it's more about their job, I think, than anything. They're afraid. They're afraid they'll get reprimanded for not making these calls and allowing the game to get out of hand, as they say.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I mean, everything you're saying is absolutely right. It's correct. And just,
no, always.
It's just sad to just kind of see it getting a little softer. Is all. I want to see football, and that's all. That's all it is.
But let's wrap up. We want to talk football, but I'm going to force you to talk baseball. Let's wrap up the football talk here with predictions on the game. Who do you got this Sunday night? I think I initially had this as a loss for the Steelers myself. I'm going to switch that to a win after the loss against the Colts. I don't think they'll lose 2 in a row. Games at home. I think the Steelers defense is going to have their way. They're probably a little annoyed by how Flacco pretty much dominated them last week, and they're going to want to come out here and show something. I think that I never gave my MVP. I'm going to go chalk. I'm going to go TJ Watt. I think he's going to have 2 sacks. I'm going to give him 2 sacks tonight or on Sunday night. Najee, this guy I think needs to step it up a little bit. I want this offensive line to see what they can do without James Daniels in there. He's been their best lineman all year. He's out for the rest of the year. They've had a lot of injuries. I don't know what the stats to Sayamalu is. I should probably look that up beforehand, but I didn't. But they have McCormick switching over to where Daniels was, I'm pretty sure, and it'll be interesting to see how everything goes. What are your thoughts, score for the game, and who you got winning?
Yeah, I had them go 9-0. They're at a 4-1 record, or a 3-1 record right now. I had this as a win. I agree with you. I don't see them winning or losing 2 in a row right now. So I think they're going to win this game. I think that some of these players that haven't shined or stepped up yet are going to step up and shine this game. So I'm going to go, I'm going to go with a little bit of a higher scoring game. This team has been a second half team, and I think they're going to come out in the second half like they did in that Colts game. And like you said, be a little upset with how, like you said, Flacco, because they used to play Flacco all the time, and Flacco torched them. And I don't think they're going to let Dak do the same thing, So it's a Sunday night game. The Steelers do well in prime time. I think they have one of the better records in primetime games. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a higher scoring game. I think I'm going to go 31-17 Steelers over the Cowboys. I think they're going to come out and just show that they are America's team, even though people want to say the Cowboys are America's team. They're going to let the Cowboys know, no, they are America's team. We are America's team, and we're coming out with a vengeance. Get a little bit of a get a comeback from last week from being down like that, and they're going to win 31-17 Steelers over the Cowboys.
31-17. One more prediction for you. What will be higher, Dak Prescott's completion percentage or his salary in millions for the season?
It's going to be his salary.
There you have it. So expect Dak to be somewhere around 55% completion percentage on Sunday night.
Yep.
But like I said, I think we're going to shift it over to the Pirates. Their season has ended.
Whoa, real quick? Whoa, you didn't even give your final prediction score. What's your score?
Oh, the final score of this game is going to be 24-10 Steelers.
Ooh, okay.
They're going to take care of this game. It's going to be a late score from the Cowboys too. Steelers are going to dominate this game from the beginning. Here we go, Steelers.
Here we go, Steelers.
So for the third time I've pitched this idea, we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have finished their season 76-86, same exact record as last season. And GM Ben Cherington, a guy that many people thought may have lost his job and the Pirates have moved on, is still around. He had about a 45-minute press conference, apparently. You can't find a video of the whole 45 minutes anywhere. At least I haven't been able to find it. But I did find some clips, and 3 of the clips that I thought were interesting I think we're going to go into. The first clip is actually from Cherington talking about Shelton keeping his job as manager as well, and the way he's talked to ownership about whether he agrees with the return of Shelton. So let me start with that. Let me pull this one up here. This is about a 47-minute clip or 47-second clip. I'll just play it the whole way through.
Are you satisfied with the job he's done so far?
I believe he can help lead us towards winning in 2025. I believe that. I believe he already does a lot of aspects of the job very well and at a high level. I believe he works as hard as any manager in the game. I certainly believe he cares as much as any manager in the game. Like all of us, certainly including me, he has targets that he needs to improve on, and I believe he's fully aware of those. I believe he's very committed to working on those. I believe he understands that ultimately the team needs to respond to him, and we'll go into 2020, 2025 together, accountable together, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the work ahead.
And when you got
So most Pirate fans, they don't care about being accountable in 2025. They want to see accountability in 2024. And this team did not improve in the overall record, like 76-76, 2 years in a row. With a team that there's a lot of promise coming in the season, and then you get a guy like Paul Skeens to have the season that he had for them, where he's already one of the top 3 pitchers in the league, and you don't improve. It's embarrassing, especially when you look at the fact that they went into the trade deadline in contention. They ended up just completely falling apart in August. He talks about how much of a nice guy Shelton is and how hard he works. I just don't care. I don't care at this point. No one should care at this point about how nice of a guy he is. He's got his flaws, and as a manager, you can't do a lot to make your team better, obviously, if you don't get the talent there. But if you're going to be a team like the Pirates where you're not going to have world beaters everywhere, you can't have a guy who's costing you games. You can't have a guy that's going to cost you runs in different scenarios. And that's what he's done. He's not an MLB caliber manager. He seems like a great guy. He can work as hard as you want. If you aren't doing what you need to do on the field, you've had 5 straight losing seasons. The improvement was expected this year. He's supposed to be more of a hitting coach kind of guy, and he didn't do anything really to help a lot of these guys on offense. Jack Sawinski's completely destroyed. I go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I think that just that the way he answered that question just kind of just summarizes everything from the top. I mean, Bob Nutting just does not care. And obviously, if he really cared about winning, he would have made changes with getting rid of Cherington and Shelton. But he obviously doesn't care about winning. He only seems to care about the money he's making from the team and making off the team, and that's it. If he really wanted to make changes, things would have happened right there at the end of the season. Like you said, was that 6 consecutive seasons losing?
Five for this. Yeah, 5 for the for Shelton and Cherington, 6 overall for the Pirates.
And I think I saw Shelton's record was like 212 to like 419 or something is his record with the Pirates right now. And it's
abysmal.
Something like that. And it's like that you're not winning. You know what I mean? You're losing 2 out of 3 games every series at that point. It's like you cannot continue to do that. And it just shows that nobody cares up top. And they think, oh, well, next year's going to be our season. Next year's going to be our season. We're going to do better next year. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy. Like you said, you can't just go off of someone being a nice guy as a great coach. You could be a nice guy, but not a great coach. Obviously, he could be a nice guy, but he's not a good coach. And it's going to show. It's showing right now with having 5 losing seasons. The Pirates cannot, move ahead with the players they have and get better in the season unless somebody at the top makes the changes that need to be changed. Bob Nutting doesn't give a fuck, obviously. It's what it seems like to me, and that's just what it is. And the Pirates will never get to where they want to be if you don't get rid of the top and down below and get rid of bring in brand new faces. It's just not going to happen.
So they did get rid of a couple guys. Their bullpen coach, who I'm not going to pretend to know how much a bullpen coach is going to affect the team. And then the other guy that was let go was the hitting coach, Andy Haynes, who came after 3 – he was with the Pirates for 3 seasons. Before then, he was fired by the Brewers. The Brewers have been great the last 3 years. Just shows you how much they missed Haynes. But here's a little bit of Cherington talking about how to fix that offense that struggled mightily this year. It's a 3-minute clip, but I don't think we're going to go that far into it. We'll see how far we can get into this.
And in bringing on a new hitting coach, what needs to happen in order for things to change in that specific area?
Yeah, I mean, I think that first of all, Andy Haynes is an incredibly talented guy, incredibly hardworking. He cares so much. I'm personally fond of him, and he's going to get another job very quickly. That's how these things go. I think to some, certainly some of where we got was that job is really hard, and especially really hard when you are doing it for a team that is really trying to develop offensively. Where we have as many young players as we've had with offensive challenges that are largely the result of the work I'm doing. Like, this is the roster we have. That job is already hard, and it's going to be even more challenging when you're in that situation. And when you live in that role for 3 years, that can add up over 3 years.
Nice guy.
So there's a piece of it. I think that we certainly want to hire the best person, and ultimately it's about the players. We need to serve the players in the best possible way, and listen to all what we've heard and the observations we've made about what we think the players need more of or less of. Focus there.
Okay, that's enough for that. Do we really need to hear more about being a nice guy again with how great of a guy Andy Haynes is? We don't care, okay? We want a fucking hitting coach that makes the hitters better. It's a very easy result-oriented situation here. We want our hitters to do well. We want the hitters to come up to not, as soon as they get up here, have a good stretch, maybe a good month or so, and then completely fall apart and shit the bed the rest of their season. It's happened time and time again. They pick up a couple guys. First, Edward Olivares from the Marlins, who is a guy that we thought had some promise. He completely shit the bed. He was just he became a free agent yesterday after an awful season and then they got a trade at at the deadline for Brian De La Cruz, he comes in and he's miserable again. He comes in with 18 home runs. He finishes with, I think, like 21 maybe or something around there. It just happens to be like they can't make anyone better, really. It seems like no one's coming up and becoming a better player. Just to be an ass and to give my feelings, I think hearing Cherington talk is what has just made me think of this clip. Fun clip for everyone to hear real quick, I guess. And then I'll let you go off on what you heard from Cherington.
Nice guy. I don't give a shit. Good father. Fuck you. Go home and play with your kids. You want to work here? Close.
That's all we want. That's all we want. If you want to fucking work here, win. Teach these guys how to hit. You don't have to teach these guys how to hit. Make sure they don't fall apart. Make sure that they don't just become an albatross at the plate between Sawinski, Hayes. I know Hayes has the injury. Sawinski always had blah, 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 blah. We need results, and the results are not coming in any form or fashion. Go ahead. And I know.
I mean, he obviously, like you said, he just seems to care if the people are nice or not. I don't get that. The fans just, that's not what the fans want. The fans want a winning team. They want players that are going to get out there and actually play and do good out there every time they're out there playing. Trading for players and bringing players in that you think are going to be good, and then they shit the bed, like you said, during the season, it's not working, and something needs to change. We talked about, I think before the season has started, there was that big article from The Athletic we were talking about. And a lot of the players were talking about, there was a guy that I forget who the batting coach was, but they really liked practicing with him and teaching, bringing, having him, show them
that was
things like that.
John Nunnally is his name. And I was especially Brian Hayes was the guy who really worked with him down in the minors and really fixed his the end of his season last year. This year, Hayes was miserable at the plate. So without him there, it was an injury-plagued season. On top of that, it just was a miserable hit for him. But yeah, not only is the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
Nunnally.
Yeah, why don't you wanna help the players improve? I think he said something in an article, with that same interview that we're gonna start listening to our guys. Why haven't you been doing that for a while? Why haven't you been doing that before? You really want to bring somebody in, it needs to start from the top, and things need to change from the top all the way down to the bottom. Let's get some real talent in there of some players and coaching staff. Spend some money to get some people in there if you really want to win. If you continue this not spending money to bring anybody good in, you're not going to be successful, and you're not going to have a winning season or a winning team. That's all it's going to be. It just seems like nobody cares about this organization, and it's only going to get better until somebody you get rid of a lot of these general managers and coaches and the owner. You got to get rid of these people. There has to be some type of clause where the fans can vote these people out, get somebody new in. It has to be something but you got to get rid of these guys. Until then, nothing's going to change.
And then I'm right there with you. You're right on everything. But I got one more clip. It's Cherington was asked pretty much straight out what needs to change. And here's his response. I think it was asked by Jenna Harner.
In the division, and since then the best that you guys have finished is 4th overall in this division. Why should fans expect things are going to change, especially when it comes to playing meaningful games this time of year?
Yeah, so I think that clear evidence that progress has been made, and certainly not enough, right? So we are winning more games. We're not winning enough. It has to happen faster. It has to happen better and faster. As I said, I really do believe we go into 2025 with the strongest, deepest roster we've had since I've been here. We need to make it better. There's different ways to make it better. Some of it will be through off-season acquisition. Some of it will need to be through that player improvement that I talked about. Over time, certainly some of it's going to need to come from continuing to get better at the draft and international and internal development and et cetera, and on and on. I'm confident because I'm fully energized by the job, by the task. It's hard. It's a hard job. It's not supposed to be easy. But that's why we do it. I understand frustration, certainly. I understand that, there are a lot of people out there who care about the Pirates, a lot of different stakeholders who care about the Pirates, including people in this room, certainly including the fans, including people inside the organization, certainly our players, staff, ownership. All of those people care a lot about the Pirates, and so when the outcomes aren't yet what I want them to be, what we want them to be, there's going to be frustration that comes from that, and I'm fully aware of that and accept that. I'm just going to keep focused on what I can do to make it better every day, and I know I need to, and we'll be.
You buying what he's selling?
Not at all. Not at all. Well, I don't.
Clear
I don't get this.
improvement. He said clear improvement.
No, it's I don't get this. Well, I'm confident in 2025. It's gonna be our year. I'm confident in it. I don't get this. Why not do it like you said now? Do it now. Make the changes now. Don't wait till 2025. Do it now.
Yeah, he does mean 24 offseason into 25, just to give him some credit there. He does mean the next season that's coming up here. But the more embarrassing thing is just like the clear evidence of improvement when you have 2 consecutive years with 76 wins. If you want to call it improvement, congrats on you. The other thing is he wants to talk about like adding and stuff. He's not proven that he has the ability to add free agents. They spent money all offseason on some guys that like really didn't come through at all. Chapman ended up with a decent year, but he was at $12 million. You're getting somewhere around a 3.7 ERA to 4 ERA, something like that. And that's your best guy in the offseason. It's not going to work there. He brought up the drafts. He brought up international stuff. That's more things on his plate, I guess. But he, for a guy who's done a lot of losing, just his overall like upbeat mentality doing this. Maybe he's lying to himself. Who knows? Maybe he's just trying to sell the vision he has, and maybe he hasn't talked to Nutting and everyone about it. Maybe his job's not secure yet. Maybe that's the problem here.
That's a possibility too. Or maybe he's on the chopping block because 2025 has to be the year or he's done. Who the fuck knows? He just. I'm not buying anything that he's selling right now. I want to see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Money talks. That's what it is. Go spend some money. Go get some people out there. You really want to start winning. Spend money to bring in the right guys. You don't want to spend the money. You're gonna be in the same position you are next year.
Fortunately for us, we don't have to worry about it right now. It's October. We got football.
Yep.
Let's just focus on them Steelers. Root for them on Sunday night. But other than that, Lee, I'm done for today. If you're done.
Just real quick, I just want to say, Penguins. I know you're not a huge Penguin fan, but the Penguins season starts next week. I think they're in the preseason right now. So the Penguins hockey does start next week. With that being said, NBA is going to be starting back up. So that's, something else, to look forward to as well. So
you see the Penguins got stuck. The Penguins flight got delayed and they missed the game.
Yeah, I saw
that's
that.
Something new, right?
Yeah, that is something weird. Hopefully, maybe, what's crazy? Maybe that same plane had those bobbleheads that got lost for the NBA, for the Pirates season.
Yeah, something's going on with these planes. You never know. But Lee, I'll see ya. Have a good night.
I'll see you. Have a good one.
You too. I'll see you.
Yeah.